I was on the floor of my bedroom, surrounded by Post-it notes, printed UI mock-ups, handwritten API mapping diagrams, research notes, and sketches spread all over the carpet like puzzle pieces only I could understand. I was 26. I had been working toward this one chance for months. The Dream Tech internship interview was tomorrow morning. I could barely sleep the night before because I kept hearing the recruiter repeating the words, "Your portfolio is extremely strong. This could be career-defining for you." This wasn't just an internship. This was my chance to finally build a way out of my parents' cage, a way to survive without eternal permission from them, a way to become an actual person. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. I carefully slid each printed portfolio segment into a presentation binder, labeled Clean Aesthetic. Everything I learned online tutorials for because I couldn't afford a formal design course. My hands were actually shaking from excitement. I kept whispering to myself, I might actually get this. I might finally get my life started. And then her footsteps came down the hall. My mom never knocked. She never respected boundaries. She never believed I deserved privacy or a single ounce of self-direction. She pushed the door open without slowing down. "What is this mess?" she said, disgust dripping out like venom. "It's my portfolio," I said carefully, "for tomorrow's final interview." She walked into my room like she was stepping into a dump site. "Interview for what? Pretending to be a tech girl now?" She laughed loudly. "Where do you even get this delusion from?" I tried to ignore. I tried to stay calm. I tried not to trigger her rage by responding emotionally. "Mom, please, don't start. This is really important to me." She turned her head so slowly I swear she could have turned stone just by glaring. "Important? You? Important?" she mocked. "You can't even clean a room right. You think the tech industry is waiting for you?" I stood up slowly, binder in hands, heart sinking under the weight of her voice. "Mom, this is my future. Let me try this once. Just once." She snatched the binder from my hands so fast I didn't even react in time. "Mom, no!" And in one single violent motion, she ripped the entire binder open like it was worthless scrap paper. The pages ripped, cracked, scattered across the floor like shredded wings. She tore my mock-ups, she tore my wireframes, she tore my documentation, everything I spent months building, everything I sacrificed, sleep, social life, sanity for. She bent down, grabbed handfuls, tore again and again. "You don't get a future," she snarled. "You don't deserve it. You think you're special? You're a joke." I tried to pick the pages up, but she grabbed the back of my shirt and pulled me backward so hard I hit the floor. Then she grabbed my hair, both hands, and dragged me across the floor like I was an animal who ran where it shouldn't be. My scalp burned like fire. My eyes stung. My hands shook uncontrollably. "You're nothing," she hissed in my ear. "You exist to do chores in this family. That's it. You want a future? That's a joke." I screamed for her to stop, but she laughed like she finally got her entertainment for the week. Dad leaned on the hallway doorway, listening, silent, enjoying it, the same way he always silently enjoyed the slow destruction of my self-worth. When she finally let go, I crawled toward the torn paper pieces like I could magically put them back together. I wanted to save every single one. I wanted to fix it and pretend she didn't just destroy the only thing that could free me. She stood over me, towering, satisfied, victorious, like she just prevented a crime against her. "You will not go to that interview tomorrow," she said, voice flat, ice cold. "You will wake up and clean this house instead." I didn't answer her. I couldn't. My mind was dripping in shock. My chest felt hollow and numb. But deep inside that numbness, rage began forming. Not loud rage, not impulsive rage, silent rage, strategic rage. I laid on that carpet, staring at my torn dream, and inside myself I vowed, this is the last time she will ever destroy anything that belongs to me. I stayed on that floor for almost 40 minutes after she left my room, not crying, just staring at the pieces like crime scene fragments. Every single ripped sheet was proof. Every sketch I spent nights perfecting was now evidence. Evidence of how far she would go to keep me small. I didn't sleep at all that night, not even a minute. At 3 a.m., I quietly slid my laptop under the blanket and started redoing what I could from scratch. My scalp still throbbed from where she yanked my hair. My neck had red streaks. My hands shook every time I clicked my trackpad. But I kept building. I rebuilt half the portfolio digitally before the sun even came up. I didn't have printer access at home. And I knew if I asked Dad to drive me to FedEx, he'd purposely stall until interview time passed. So I did something I never did before. I didn't tell them I was still going. At 6 a.m., I tiptoed out of the house in silence, wearing the same hoodie as the night before. I walked 2 miles before the bus line even started running, holding my laptop like a newborn child. The cold morning air hit my face, but I didn't care. It was the first time I felt alive in that house in years. At the FedEx print center, the guy working there saw the stress in my face. He said, "Take your time. Don't worry. I'll help you fix formatting if needed." That one tiny human gesture almost broke me into tears. No screaming, no insults, no accusations. Just simple equality. I printed everything fresh. Pages crisp, colors sharp. More professional than what I had before. I bought a new binder and organized it there on the table with steady hands. When I arrived to the interview building, I didn't feel like a victim anymore. I felt like a damn survivor walking into war. The interviewer team asked me why my prototype links were expanded beyond original scope. I didn't tell them the story. I refused to give her that power. I said, I rebuilt my entire portfolio in under 6 hours, because when I say I want this, I mean it. The lead engineer's eyes widened. The director leaned forward like I'd just said something they hadn't heard from an applicant before. We talked back-end structure. We talked cloud architecture. We talked why certain user flows fail emotional UX. We talked real-world production constraints. And I handled every question with that strange clarity trauma gives you when you're forced to survive every second of your life without safety nets. When I walked outside afterward, the recruiter followed me out into the hallway. "You are going to go very far in this industry," she whispered. "Some people have talent. Some people have hunger. You have both." Right then. My phone buzzed. Mom texted, "If you are still thinking about going to that interview, you can pack your bags and leave this house forever." She didn't know I just finished the interview already. I stared at that text for a full 20 seconds. And for the first time in my life, that threat didn't scare me. It felt like freedom. I walked down those steps outside the glass elevator with a steady heartbeat and a new, silent realization. This internship wasn't the only thing changing tomorrow. My entire life was about to shift. When I reached the bus stop to go back home, I didn't even sit. I looked at the house address texted in my mom's message again. The threat. The dare. The ultimatum she thought would break me. "Pack your bags and leave this house forever." She said it like she owned my air supply. She said it like she was granting permission to breathe. I screenshotted that text instantly, because this time, her threats were going to work against her. By the time I got home, she was standing in the doorway like a prison guard waiting for a guilty inmate. She crossed her arms and said, "Well, did you listen, or did you disobey like usual?" I walked right past her with zero reaction. She hated silence more than argument. In my room, I took out every single belonging that was actually mine. Laptop, clothes, toiletries, sketch tablet, USBs, notebook, hard drives. Everything that did not have their money on it. She followed me down the hall yelling, "You think you can walk out like you're a real person with a real career? You're a joke. You're a useless burden. Nobody wants you." I said nothing while I zipped my luggage. She reached to grab my hair again, but this time I stepped back so fast she missed. I looked her straight in the eyes and said calmly, "You will never drag me again. Ever." She froze. Her power didn't land. Her dominance didn't work. Dad came out of the bathroom and scoffed. "She'll be back here in 2 weeks begging. They always do." I wheeled my suitcase out past both of them like they were bystanders in a hallway. I didn't slam the door. I closed it gently. That silence shredded them more than if I screamed. Revenge begins 2 days later. I got an email. "Congratulations, you are selected. Official offer letter attached." I stared at that email like my future just walked into my room, shook my hand and said, "Let's go." I signed instantly. Then I called a local legal aid clinic, explained the hair dragging and property destruction, and showed them the text where my mom told me to leave forever. They helped me file an official legal voluntary removal and independent domicile status, a protection that prevented them from trying to legally claim financial guardianship or insurance access or block my relocation. That was my revenge, removing every legal tether they once had connected to me. No emergency contact access, no medical access, no employment reference power, no claim to my life. Then I took it further. Real, grounded, unexpected. I filed a damage report with the tech internship program coordinator. I told them my portfolio was destroyed by a parent, so I needed digital verification only. They flagged my file with unsafe home environment, do not release address or personal info to outside family members. Meaning, they now had no route to sabotage anything professionally. No HR call pretending to be me. No property claim, no contacting supervisor pretending I'm unstable. Every door they once abused was now locked. The breakdown. 1 week later, Kristen called from a blocked number. She was screaming, crying that Mom had a meltdown because I disappeared like an ungrateful brat. Dad punched a hole in the garage wall. The whole house spiraled because for the very first time ever, I simply walked away with no explanation, no closure, no begging. I said nothing. I hung up. The outcome. On my first official day at the tech internship, I was assigned my own workstation, dual monitors, ergonomic chair, and company ID badge. I touched it carefully. No one could rip this. No one could drag me across anything again. At orientation, the director said, "If you do well this summer, full-time placement comes directly after." My future wasn't a joke anymore. My future was mine. And my mother had no seat in it, no voice in it, no hand in it, no control left over it. Their revenge was that they had to watch me succeed from the outside in silence, while I finally lived without them on the inside. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.